So why do we need to analyze the raw milk quality? Because there are several violations. For example, there can be some adulteration. Adulteration means cheating, something like cheating. Like maybe the farmer or the dealer may add water to the milk, may do something to the milk to sell with a bigger money, for example. So that's why we have to analyze. And also, sometimes they do not do that intentionally. For example, if the raw milk is outside for quite a while, then microorganism will grow and cause some change in quality and so on. So that is why for raw milk, it's quite critical that they need to analyze each sample from each farm to be sure the quality is good before I receive, and also they evaluate the raw milk quality to give suitable price to that farmers. If the raw milk has a higher quality, they will pay higher price and so on. Okay, so what are the common adulteration that may occur? For example, some people may add water into the milk to increase the volume. Some people may add an alkali. Why do they add an alkali? Because if they put a leaf milk at room temperature outside for a while, then the fermentation occur and the pH is already low or acidity already higher than normal. So they add an alkali to neutralize it, to bring back to the normal pH value. So just to cheat the freshness of milk, for example. And in some region of the world, maybe people can do skimming up, means that they already remove part of skim just to keep at home for cooking, for example. But this did not happen in Vietnam because we don't have a tradition of using cream for the cooking. And this happened in China for several years ago, that some people add melamine into raw milk. This is melamine. One molecule of melamine, this is an industrial chemical. One molecule contains how many? 6 atoms of nitrogen, a lot nitrogen. And this is to check the protein content. Okay, because when we want to analyze protein content, it's a Keldan method. In the Keldan methods, we analyze the nitrogen content and then we multiply with a factor to have protein content. So some men kind of, they feel that they are intelligent. Okay, they will just cheat the nitrogen content, and then at the factory when people analyze, they see that it seems to be normal, but actually the protein is actually not real protein, but the nitrogen come from this chemical. So they add water into the milk to dilute the volume, and they add this chemical to cheat the protein content. And this was a very big issue. Many children got sick and had to be hospitalized in China several years ago, if you know it. Okay, because there are some adulteration, so what do we do? What can we do to detect it? For example, we analyze the fat content. If the fat is lower than normal, we also analyze the density. Okay, the density of milk we discussed in chapter 4 already. If the density is higher than normal, the average density is 1/30, but now the density is higher than normal, while the fat is lower than normal, so we can guess that they has applied skimming in this milk, means that they already removed part of the cream. But if you analyze and you see that the fat content is lower than normal, while the density is also lower than normal, then you can suspect that this milk has been added with water. If the acidity, the titratable acidity, means you have to do titration to determine it. If the titratable acidity is very low, lower than normal, then you can guess that this milk had been added with an alkali. For example, sodium hydroxide or sodium bicarbonate to just to cheat the freshness. Yes, okay, so we are done with the first part. Before we go to the second part, I will just try to review very fast so you can get the main points of this part. Now, milk can be collected from the cow by using hand, by using machine, or by using robots. Each method is suitable in each condition, and each method is linked to a certain level of investment. Okay, depend if you have small farm, large farm, and so on, then you can choose. And then fresh milk or raw milk should be stored at low temperature, and the good temperature is 4 degrees C or below, but above the freezing point. And how do we do it? We can use a water tank, we can use the cooling rings, we can use immersion cooler, or we can use ice water jacket. And this method is now applied widely everywhere because electricity is available everywhere. And the farms now are quite large, not small farms anymore. With this system, the milk is cooled down by cold water, and the system is equipped with cleaning in place. Everything is kind of controlled, the hygiene condition is better, and so on. And now, if we use a milking machine, we milk many cows at a time. Then before pumping milk into the cooling tank, we better have a heat exchanger. Then we can control the temperature even better. We can lower the temperature even better. Why 4 degrees C? Because 4 degrees C or below is already determined the optimal temperature for storage of raw milk. That after several days, the microorganism number will not increase significantly, and the freshness, the quality of raw milk is maintained. In Vietnam, raw milk, when it is removed from the cow, can be outside for maximum 1 hour. This is the requirement of large companies. But sometimes people may violate this rule because it's quite difficult to maintain 1 hour. Maybe when they bring the milk to the collection point, the motorbike get broken or whatever happened, that the milk may stay outside longer, and then the quality will be lower. Then the milk will be transported from either large farm to the factory or from small farm to a collection point first, and then from there to the factory. Okay, and then when milk is received into the factory, they need to wait, or they need to measure the volume to pay a certain amount. And when milk is received into the factory, they normally store for a further period of time, and the temperature for storage is the same, 4 degrees C or below. And then before receiving into the factory, they need to analyze the sample to be sure the quality is sufficient, is suitable before they bring into the factory. And for further storage at low temperature, they apply thermization to destroy psychotrophic bacteria. And these are the tests that they normally apply to measure the sample before receiving the milk. There are quite a number of adulteration may occur. So that is why we need to measure the quality. We need to be strict, and we need to follow this continuously to be sure the raw milk quality is